What if I told you that the reason you can't scale beyond $5 million of annual revenue isn't because of marketing, it's something else? The diagram I'm about to present is worth more than $4 million, and I'm gonna show it to you for free, so check it out. I've spent 10 years helping billion-dollar companies scale their operations, and here's what I learned. Generic operations keep you mediocre and keep you locked. Amazon, LVMH, Netflix, they don't use generic software. Maybe they use it for compliance, but when it comes to their operational excellence, they do something completely different. And that is what I'm about to show you right now. By the end of this video, you'll know every single step that makes a company excel in operational excellence and actually generate twice their valuation and decrease your cost of marketing acquisition and increase your profitability. So stay with me. Today I wanted to show you what a great value chain mapping looks like. And so we're gonna do an example with e-commerce business, which is a classic procurement processes, inventory, then sales, then fulfillment, and post-service, post-sales. So let's jump right into it. And as usual, I'm a big fan of diagrams. So here we are again in draw.io. So here what you can see is a value chain for e-commerce where there are how many steps? 4 steps. And well, cash collected, that's when you do some pre-sales, but let's start with the first step. The first step usually is product selection and planning. And this is where we follow my classic structure of a stage, where a stage in the end has an output and result that trigger the next stage. So if those two are triggered, you start the next stage, which is whatever it is. Like here it's supplier order management. So when the product selection and planning happens, you input previous stages or input an SOP. So you analyze historical sales. By the way, excuse my French, but I did that document in both languages. That's collateral of living in Quebec. So analyze the historical sales and the market trends. So your prerequisite are that the analysis was done, the classification of your product was done by essential, seasonal, or unique, and reorder points were defined. Then, as we said in the previous video, in your company you have activities, and you have a subset of those activities that are standardized that we call SOP, and you can have multiple SOPs within one stage. So activities here, let's say it's like identify products to order. Why usually sometimes you don't do SOPs? Because some things require creativity, and creativity can be standardized. So you have to give the freedom of people. And if in your business, like curation or creativity is a competitive factor, don't standardize it. People hate it. Creative people hate standards. So just don't do it. Then another thing that you can do in activities is calculate optimal quantity. That's also the thing. It's based on trends, etc. You can have a methodology. You can have some guidelines, but you can't have a standard process to do it. You can have a tool to use it, but again, have to be careful there. And do some planning. For containers you're shipping, when do you want those things to receive, to hit your shelf, to be sold, etc. Then you have the SOPs 101, so where you do a formal process. So this is like the formal meetings, etc. that you want to see about demand planning and container planning. The output here will be a list that will be approved for buying and the budget that will be allocated. Once those other things are done, boom, you go into the next stage, supplier order management. In your procurement. So this was demand, this is procurement. So the input is the previous stage. Prerequisite, so your final list of purchases and your suppliers that were identified. And if you want to do the breakdown there, you can. Because every supplier can have a scorecard and like a performance, so there's a risk, etc. So every company at some point of their scale can actually know who performs well or not. If you have just 10 suppliers, it's fine if you don't have like a formal process there. But when you have thousands of them, this is where it becomes very interesting. So here, etc., you have activities, generate POs automatically, send POs to suppliers, do some follow-ups. If they don't respond and don't acknowledge it, you do once again a follow-up. Then you have some SOPs there, PO generalization, supplier communication, follow-up workflows. So you have templates for your emails, the tone of your company, basic stuff that you can just delegate to some people to do those follow-ups, and don't pay your most expensive employees to do stuff that can be done by an AI agent or some virtual assistant. Output, PO is sent, and the result is the confirmation is received, so the PO acknowledgement. And at the end, what would be also great is that the inbound shipments are created. Next step, logistics. So the input, previous stages. Prerequisite, purchase order acknowledgement was confirmed. So they can acknowledge, but sometimes they won't actually be able to send or manufacture the quantities and the colors or the things that you wanted. But so you want to confirm that, and sometimes you have back and forth in communication. This is where systems like EDI are in place, and no supplier uses the same way of communication or every system, so that becomes quite a challenge. We can help in that with some basic AI and custom-made software that makes this thing easy. And in the end, it's also like 80-20 rule. Like you'll have 20% of your suppliers who will generate 80% of your sales, and etc. etc. So you attack those first, you create fantastic, clean processes there, and then you focus on the rest. Then once you have this, you have some prerequisites. So expected delivery dates, container or air freight plan, so like transportation mode and your so what are the terms? Is it DDP or something else? Very important there. Then some activities, you want to do some reconciliation, of course. You want to plan for the physical reception, validate the quantities, work the discrepancies and like the gaps between the quantities. Then you can have a very standard process of reconciliation to have a way to address different discrepancy types. So remember, I don't know if I did a presentation on the ops health and how you categorize this, maybe in another meeting. So subscribe to see how we deal with that. It's very interesting. And then some other processes I'll put here. You have stock received and I just was scared that the recording wasn't happening. It happened to me once that I was recording a whole video I was really proud of, and boom, no recording. I was heartbroken. Then you have everything related to inventory management, and it's sync with your systems, your POS or your e-commerce website. So you often it's going to be Shopify, or you have your own OMS, order management system. So input is the previous stages as usual. You have some activities, SOPs. In the end, the inventory is live on all your channels, and so how we call it, across omni-channel, yes. And then you have the alerts for reordering if you have some replenishment or not seasonal SKUs but more non-seasonal, how do you call it? Anyway, then you have the sales, which is your products are visible and the stock is available, so things are ready to sell. And the activities, you'll have some sales that will be done on your online store. You'll have some sales done on your retail stores. You'll have some consignment, for example, done. Then you'll have some CRM connection, and then marketing that you want to do. So you have SOPs for doing that, and you have your system, of course. And in the end, you have order created, stock that is reserved, and the payment initiated. Some people also do the capture at the same time. Most of the companies just capture the payment and they use that inventory, that cash flow, either to do some drop shipping, so they'll actually order after. So that's another example, case. But if you're an e-commerce business and you want to have the best time to market and great delivery times, you usually keep some inventory and you send right away to the closest node to your customer through your fulfillment operations. So this is where you can use usually 3PLs, or you have your own fulfillment operations with your own WMS, warehouse management system. And so the order would drop in that system. The payment would be so we authorize the payment, of course. And then you have some activities: pick and pack, click and collect if it's a BOPIS. So BOPIS is buy online, pick in store. You can have directly delivered to in store, and then you pick. So it's kind of redundant here. Shipping and delivery. Either, once again, you are Amazon, you have your own delivery trucks, or you use, as most people do, UPS, FedEx, Purolator, Canada Post, USPS. Then of course you have SOPs for pick and pack, click and collect. The output is that your order is shipped and given to your logistical partner, and then at the end of it, like, the client receives the delivery, the stock is updated, and the delivery is confirmed, and boom, 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 we come back to the later stage, which is here we say cash collected, but in the end, we make sure that it's a solid purchase and nothing wrong happened. But what can happen here is, like, you delivered, and 20 to 30% of the time in e-commerce you'll have a return or some contact per order. So people will be like, oh, what's going on, where's my order, or some fraud. Like, when you scale, this thing happened. It was huge in the luxury domain when I was working before, but it's also very interesting, a lot of funny anecdote if you want to learn those stories and hear what are the weirdest stuff that I've seen. Comment below and I'll do a video specific to that. But the activities here, you collect the payment, you do the follow-up satisfaction of the client, you send them an NPS survey, and or a CSAT of the customer service. You offer them a fidelity program, so with some points, which is good. Remember, there's two metrics that you want to optimize in the business if we simplify: the client acquisition cost and the LTV. The client acquisition cost is almost flat for everyone. The real difference of scale and profitability, and where companies win, is the CLTV, so customer lifetime value. And the only way to do that well is to make your customer buy with you again through cross-sale or upsales. And how do you do that? By being excellent in your operations. And this is what we help to do with Anchor Point. Like, you get the best system to map all your value streams. So everything you see here on the screen, this is what we do. Like, we help you have that seamless integration end to end, so you can excel and actually increase your LTV, because it directly will have an impact on your profitability. And excluding that, the valuation of your company and how well people work in your company. So that's it. And of course you have return management, etc. And in the end, what you want as a business is that you receive the cash and you keep most of it, and you don't have to do any rebates. Your client's satisfied and actually is a promoter. So it means that he gave you a 9 or a 10 on the NPS survey. The COTV is tracked, of course, on your OMS or your CRM. All the orders are attached, and you know what people like, and you can then re-engage them and do some activation and do great offers with whatever you sell. And then repurchase triggered if you know that those people have high intent, and helps you with, once again, feedback loop, product selection and planning. And so if you do those things well and you connect them and all your system communicate well, imagine the business you can have. You can actually compete with the giants like Amazon. And this is what they do. They don't buy generic software. They build custom, because when it comes to operational excellence, generic will be average, and average is mediocre in that domain. If you want to really compete and have the best customer base and fidelity, and you want to minimize your client acquisition cost and have higher profitability, this is the game. It was okay in 2010s and early to 2020 to just bombard your marketing budget on Facebook ads and Google ads and make some profit. But now, with the weapons of mass diligence like Google reviews and TripAdvisor and just Trustpilot, it's almost impossible to escape the damage to reputation that the bad order can have. And people who are really not happy, they're going to be super vocal, and that costs you. But if you can avoid the lost sales because you excel in your e-commerce operation, well, you win. You win. So that was it. Thank you so much for following this video. About me, I'm Alex Carey, co-founder and CEO of Anchor Point Data Technologies. I've spent over 10 years in operational excellence, helping companies from billion-dollar luxury giants to big PCB manufacturing giants, to having my own small and medium-sized business, to working with big consulting firms, doing a lot of stuff actually. Oh my god, I'll do a video about all my history if you want. I'll reference it here, specifically about my journey and who I am. But yeah, my passion is building custom technology for people and small and medium-sized businesses. Bring everything that I've learned in those big enterprises and make it affordable for small and medium-sized businesses. Why it's possible right now? Because we are living in a paradigm shift in terms of the affordability of a software. Software is going through an industrialization period right now. It becomes super cheap. Software is not bottleneck anymore. And what we can do right now is combine the people, process, tech under the same roof and deliver you something that you could have only dreamed about like just a year ago. So if you want to learn more and see what we can do for your business, just go on our website, book a call with me, or find me on LinkedIn and DM me. There are many ways, or there's my email in the description. And see you there. Take care. Bye.